my co-host, Dr. Sasha Lesson. And today, on this very special episode of the Sacred Matrix, we have two people, Nancy Talbott. And Nancy is the president of the BLT Research Team Incorporated, a nonprofit organization that for 20 years has been on the leading edge of scientific research into the crop circle phenomenon. BLT has documented multiple abnormalities found in crop circle plants and soils, including massive alteration of germination and growth habit in seedlings grown from crop circle seeds, and significant alteration of the crystallization structure of specific clay minerals in crop circle soils. And 3 BLT papers have been published in peer-reviewed scientific journals. Also, we're working very hard to get on Robbert van Den Broeck, and he is a young Dutchman who lives in the southern Netherlands village of Hoeven, is singular in his ability to consistently and accurately predict the appearance of new crop formations in his general vicinity. He's in his 30s and since early adolescence experienced visions which contain both the location and design of the new crop circle, accompanied by a clear sense that the new formation is either occurring at that precise moment or that it will occur soon. In the days just prior to these experiences, he generally feels a buildup of physical and mental angst, nervousness and tension, which dissipates once the crop circle has actually been formed. And over the years, he has also visually witnessed many crop circles forming, often accompanied by dramatic light phenomena. Although not the same light anomalies in every case, in both daytime and at night, he has watched single or multiple spheres of usually bright white or yellowish light hovering over a field. Often in the past, the field is directly behind his parents' home, under which the plants suddenly flatten, creating a new crop circle. Sometimes he reports seeing simply one or multiple flashes of light, after which a new crop circle or a more complex formation has been found in the field. Plus, he's a medium, a psychic, and he has many other phenomena that we're going to talk about on this show, and we're doing what we can to get him on board. What do you want to say before we bring on Nancy?
Oh, just we've had Nancy on before, and this is totally fascinating stuff, so you're going to love what you hear.
Excellent. So Nancy, welcome to the show. If you take off your video, it might help with our bandwidth, so you can just click your video off. That might work. And then we're still trying to get Robbert.
Just hold on a sec. I don't know how to do this.
Thomas, can you help Nancy?
Just put your arrow here where the pictures are, and it should have a little camera there, and you just click it, and it should.
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't. Obviously, it doesn't. I don't know. I don't know where you guys are.
All right. Well, that's fine.
Robbert just isn't answering the phone.
I'm not sure whether you guys have his correct Skype address, but we just finished one, and that was the Skype address, the one I gave them, that they connected with him.
Yeah, he sent me a request, and I added him, and when I called him, he hadn't answered.
Oh, well, then
Can
something.
you text?
I wonder if something's gone wrong. I will text him right now and ask him.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Can you?
And meanwhile, Sasha wants to say a couple things.
Good.
What would you'd like to say? Oh, you did talk already. Never mind. Sasha already spoke.
A couple of things.
He said a couple of things. So, okay, we're working hard to get him on. But in the meanwhile,
one of the reasons I'm hoping we really can get Robbert on is that the events that go on around Robbert help us, all of us who know him and who have been following him, realize that the crop circles are just one little part of this much larger unknown whatever is going on, And the reason is that all of these things, like poltergeist activity or out-of-body experiences or remote viewing or interacting with the deceased, all of this stuff, ETs, UFOs, whatever, every bit of it happens around Robbert, in addition to him being the only person in the world who does know and has for 21 years now known exactly when and where, and nowadays he knows exactly what they're going to look like, the crop circles in his area of Holland. He knows. He can feel when they're coming. And he's the only person, as far as we know, anywhere in the world that this happens with, and definitely the only person who, since he was 15, he's now 36, this has been going on every year since then.
Can he decipher the meaning of the symbols in the circles?
I can help you right there. That's Dr. Lesson, right?
Yes,
Yes.
All right. Are you an MD doctor or a PhD doctor?
No, I'm a PhD in anthropology from UCLA.
Anthropology. Okay. I understand your question good then. I can make it very easy for you. The interpretation, this business of frantically trying to interpret what a given crop formation means, is missing the entire point. The circles are basically an invitation to a wide variety of people with a wide variety of backgrounds and expertises to recognize the spiritual realm or consciousness that they represent. And the interpretation business is something that some people do, particularly people who are more inclined to use their intellect than their emotions in dealing with reality, and also people who are threatened, very insecure, don't feel good when they are confronted with an unknown that is totally unknown. It's an attempt on the part of many people to get some sort of control. And in fact, there is no control over the cosmic consciousness, or whatever you call it. And the only way to really understand the message of the crop circles is to distance yourself, as hard as it is for educated Westerners, from the intellect, and to use instead your powers of intuition, your emotional understanding and knowing. That is the only way that you will ever really, truly connect with the consciousness that is behind the circle phenomenon. And most of us who have some educational background, and particularly those of us who are advanced in Western educational systems, tend to immediately go to the intellect to try to comprehend something that's new and different. And one of the values that Robbert has for everyone is that, particularly in his company, it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen, because I was like this also when I first met him. But you understand in his company, when a crop circle forms and you're standing right there and you watch it like he's watching it, and you know that there are no planks or boards, this is a real one, you know intuitively to respond with your gut, with your feelings, not with your intellect. It's not a ball game for the mind.
Well, Robbert has now joined us. Robbert, are you there?
Yes,
There
well,
he is.
thank you. Yeah, it's I'm now by you. I'm happy with it. I was doing a lecture with Nancy through Skype before this interview, but now I'm sitting here with a cup of coffee, and I'm be here for you. Thank you.
It must be very late for you, or very early, depending on your perspective.
Yes, yes, sure, but I like the night, and the collective consciousness is very quiet then. Dus for me it's not so a problem the American time, but I need then some coffee. Then I stay good sharp, and Nancy and I like both coffee, dus that's nice. But thank you that we can talk on your show. Thank you.
Well,
Well,
I was
it's
telling
lovely.
Robert about the first question was about this business of interpreting the crop circles, you know.
Yes.
And we just went over this with the other group, and I was paraphrasing you, but also myself, because I feel this too, about how the point, the purpose of the circle phenomenon is to touch our hearts, not
Yes.
our intellect, to
Exactly.
put us in contact with the spiritual consciousness behind it all. And if you've got enough coffee in you that you feel like talking about this, you do a better job often than I do.
I will do. That's
Take it away,
okay.
Robert.
Thank you. Yes,
So,
exactly.
Robert, what is the spiritual energy behind these crop circles? Who's doing them? Are they interdimensional beings? Are they higher level beings? What do you get as a psychic medium? Who's behind the
Yes.
crop circles? Extraterrestrials? What do you get?
Yes.
You have to let him go.
It is a little bit both. For me, the message that I get for years now, for 21 years that I discover the crop circles, when I get a feeling that I must go out, then I get a vision where they appear. And I have seen also that they was made by light bulbs, also with Nancy around me. But the meaning from it's bigger and larger than we all think. It's a consciousness for my feeling, and also the message that I get, it is a consciousness that is standing above all the star constellations and all the material universe. It is something very big. Some people call it God, some people call it the Almighty or the light. I call it the light. It's something very, very big. And from out that consciousness, there is contact with a lot of planets where also life is, planets that standing in the right position by the mother sun, dus by the sun, by the mother star, and where there's life. Some planets are thousands of years older than us, and also the evolution from intelligent life is bigger than on Earth. And longer there than. And some planets have a larger spiritual consciousness, and they are more adult than us. They was having also in the past the same as us, the period from primitive consciousness, but they are sometimes so far now that they have got the right from the source above all the universe to travel through time and space, and they have no discrimination more, they have no aggression more, and then it is also responsible that they can travel to time and space and can visit other planets, also the Earth. And the Earth is a planet that is in a growth process, and the angels and the spiritual beings, the light beings, sending to the Earth to create an open window for a higher consciousness. We are now in a process that make that we come on a higher spiritual level, and the crop circles are one section of it. The light creatures, or the angels, some people call it angels, but the helpers from God, from the source. They come through another dimension, sometimes to the Earth, to give the signals in the fields. And I will get a sort of, will make a sort of symbolic explanation. When, you know, we living in a world that we have created, we call it association, And that's a world with trends, with structure that we have create self. We have give things names. We learn things. But when you watch from out a higher consciousness, you will see that it is all fantasy that we have created from out us mind. And it's a sort of psychologic thought frame. It's a sort of window that we have created and that gives us structure. But it's some logica that exists here. In other dimensions, there's a bigger adultness and bigger consciousness that is more reality as here. And you can see that the source of, how you will call it, God, shoots sometimes some arrows in that window frame that we have created, and that create a sort of holes. And the holes, you can see it as a sort of crop circles that broke, that create some holes to another consciousness. It is some sort of, yes, very sweet, asking from the source of you will have a relation with this love, with this consciousness. And also some extraterrestrials, they have got the right to travel to time and space and to also working in this program. And the reason is that they are only go for love, not for hate or jealousy. They will help other planets to make them also part of the big universal family, a sort of collective federation, sort of space politic. And the plan is to make the Earth also part of it, that the God consciousness realization will be happening also on this planet. And the crop circles are a sort of very gentle, very quiet signals in the fields, not in the middle of the city, not in the middle of New York, you know. When God wants to give a signal or will show people that extraterrestrials exist or that angels exist, he can do that in 1 second. He can do that on the Big Apple, he can do that in New York, he can do everything. But that will destroy a lot of realities from a lot of people. People must grow to it and people must feel themselves safe. And the most gentlest way is to show the spiritual nature on quiet nature places, that you get a crop circle there. It is coming in a newspaper or it's coming in on television, on the social media, but that people can decide if they will believe it or not, or they will come to it, will visit it or not, or that they stay by themselves. But when people get a feeling, a sort instantly knowing, I must go to the crop circle, then many times processes will starting and people will get more insight, get more relation with themselves, but also with the source, also with the God source. And then when you have contact with the God source or with the light, what have create everything, then it's also safe to have contact with good extraterrestrials. And it's much larger and bigger than people think sometimes. It's sometimes too big to think about it. You can only feel it. Yeah.
Well, Robert, I understand what you're saying, but I was trying to get through to Nancy earlier about there was some real specific thing, like we had sent into space on a capsule our genome and our planetary position in the Solaris system and in the galaxy, and a crop circle came back, and it was in all the literature showing another planetary system and the genome of another species. And other people like Barbara Lamb have said, and others, that they've actually said, I want a crop circle right here to communicate with me. Please give me one. And they would get one. Those are the kind of specific things I was just wondering what your take was on those. Do you ever will one? Do you ever make it happen, Robert?
Could I, before he answers that question, deal with the Arecibo reply, which was part of your first question?
Oh, sure.
That's okay. There are many people who spend a time in, and I'm talking in this case about the one that some people believe was a response to the stuff we sent out on one of our space, one of our I don't know, satellites, whatever it was, the so-called Arecibo reply. And one of the problems is that was 2001, and it happened in a field. And this is at the end of the season when the wheat is very dry. In the field right next to it appeared a face, a beautiful, very human-like face, also in very dry wheat. Now, if you don't test, if the formation is not tested, if the samples have not been taken and then the evaluation done, you have no way of knowing with any certainty at all that the formation that you are then interpreting is genuine. This is particularly dangerous in England because there is a very active, sophisticated, funded group or groups trying to interfere with the real message behind the crop circles. Now, in the so-called Arecibo reply, in dry wheat, I don't know if you know much about wheat or what's been in fields.
No, I don't know anything about it.
Well, then use your imagination. In very dry crop, just before harvest, what has happened? All the moisture has gone out of the crop, right? I mean, this is why it's ready for harvest. When the moisture is in the crop, it's growing and the seed is being developed. Once the seed is completed, the plant naturally begins to dry down so that it can be harvested and the seeds then used, for whatever purpose they're going to be used. So you have very brittle plants. There is no way on the face of this earth that you or anyone else can flatten a dry piece of wheat without making it break. You simply cannot do it. In the Arecibo reply, unfortunately, it was not sampled, and so we have no way of knowing 100% certain, but all of the close-up photographs and the information that I have from the people who were there show that the crop in the Arecibo reply was smashed and broken and crushed everywhere. That indicates it was made by mechanical flattening, in other words, people. On the other hand, the face, which appeared in the field next to it.
Again.
I beg your pardon?
Go ahead, say that again, honey. Yeah, say it again.
Why in the world would people go to so much trouble to make a thing like that?
Let me finish. I'll tell you what I think. I don't know, of course, the ultimate answer. But in the face, which was in a field right next door, same crop, wheat, and at the same stage of growth, the face itself was flattened in a very unusual way to begin with. The style was very different, but the plants were swirled, gently swirled around the standing points that made that face, and they were not broken, which is something that humans cannot do. We have no way to do that. So what we're down to, first of all, is that these two formations appear. The face came right after the so-called Arecibo reply. My take on this personally, based on what I know about the plants, and also some things I've learned since, is that in England in particular, since there have been so many crop circles there, particularly elaborate, very complex ones, and therefore a lot of people pay attention to them, the debunking, or this business of trying to cause the public to dismiss the entire thing, as absurd, is carried out by this group of very sophisticated and very intelligent and I think well-funded people. And the only thing I can come up with is this. when you understand what is more likely the real consciousness behind the genuine crop circles and its ability to bring, let's say, for one thing, free energy to the people.
Oh.
That those people in our current society who benefit by the public not recognizing that there is a real phenomenon and that it may emanate from a higher consciousness, also then have no way of understanding that perhaps the people who are benefiting financially and politically by controlling our access to energy, and this is just one example, would be the perfect candidates to be ridiculing the entire process. With the attacks upon Robbert in Holland, the viciousness, the vindictiveness, the aggressiveness of these attacks upon a boy who, when he first went public, was only 17 years old, telling about some of these events, you could not believe the violence of these attacks because Robbert is in touch with this consciousness and everything that can be done. They are using, by they, someone is using every amazing power you can think of, every effort to make him look absurd, now to make me also look absurd since I am one of his champions. Well, I've experienced it all with him, so I know. The effort
I guess I want to, can both you and Robbert, is there any way that you could reach out to them and make friends and find out why they're doing this and see if you can talk to these people?
Well, think about it for a second. When you think of the power brokers of the world in which we live, I mean, think just for a minute. Who are they? And will they care? Will they choose to give up the power and control and the income that they currently derive from controlling the energy industry? Do you really think that's a possibility?
I think when you're with a spiritual person, like I can feel you, Robbert, something happens to you that you can feel, so I can feel you, Robbert. And so yes, I do think that you can make a communication.
Yes.
But do you think they would listen, is what I'm saying?
I think that if you can talk, if they can feel your presence, they'll understand directly because they too have spirit within them. That's what I think.
Well, my experience of them has not been so hopeful. Maybe it could be, but the only point I'm trying to make here is that many of these very elaborate formations they've never been tested. A lot of them are man-made, we know, without any question. And it appears that the purpose behind that, and this has worked perfectly in England, if you go to anybody on the street in England, you just go and you ask the first person you see, what about crop circles? They will break out in hysterical laughter. In other words, in England, where the majority of them had been happening, people all think it's a joke. There's absolutely zero question in their mind. So the debunking campaign in England, anyhow, has been 100% effective.
Wow.
And you have to keep that in your mind when you're considering the whole, phenomenon.
Well, what I think Sash is saying, Robbert, because you are so connected to other realms on the other side, the game is changing and it's up leveling, and that there's a knowingness that comes by being around someone like yourself. And maybe you haven't fully actualized your abilities to connect with these people, but my beloved husband is very, very psychic and intuitive, and we are literally halfway across the planet from you. We're like right on the opposite ends of we're on the other side of the planet from each other.
Yeah.
So I really honor what he's getting, is that there's some way you, Robbert, can reach these people. And I don't have the answer. I'm just putting the invitation for you to connect with your guides, whoever they are, if they're extraterrestrial or other side. I'm very psychic as well, and I'm connected with a lot of people that have crossed over. They tend to come to me uninvited. I don't know what to do with
Yes.
them. I do therapy with them sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm not near the as skilled, I guess, as you are. Mine's kind of wild and uncontrolled, my abilities, but they do happen now and again.
You know, I think also, I think that Englishmen are intelligent. And if you give them information like you just did, Nancy, about how you can tell false from genuine, once their intellect has taken that in, they can't deny it because they're subjective.
Yeah, it's
Well,
too
I've been
smart
doing
for
it
that not to go in.
I have been doing this
Yes.
for 20 some years, and so far I have not been successful. 3 published papers in the peer-reviewed literature of the X-ray diffraction study, and hundreds of reports about Robbert's situation, and the people in the United States and in Brazil and in lots of other parts of Europe and South America. It's true there. There's recognition of these realities. In England, you'd think I didn't exist.
Wow.
So, Robert,
Yeah.
what would you like to add
Yes.
to this conversation? What's your thoughts?
What do you think, Robert, about the last time the officialdom interacted with Robert, they arrested him and threw him in jail. Now, do you think, Robert, that there is any chance that the kind of people who are behind that could possibly, in your lifetime, is it possible, do you think?
That this sort of that people they don't want that people know the truth. Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
That
the
they,
people who are fighting,
yeah,
the
yeah.
Dutch debunking society and whatever, could you have tried a million
Yeah,
times.
yes, yes. Of course, I have learned to pay attention to the positivity. My message is also for everybody that will hear and will grow, to bring them this positive message from light and love. But of course, you have also the dark side, and you have also a lots of people they want to have control over situations, and they want sometimes very badly that true about UFOs or about extraterrestrials or about life after the death, that it is not coming out. I believe that it exists. You have also something like the dark net. It's something else as the internet. Very bad things are happening there. Sometimes you have pedophile networks and that sort of things, but more so that sort of things, and this is very bad, of course. But you have some people they want to shut up. Some people. Also in the history we was having Tesla and Moth and that sort of people, and sometimes they disappear very mysterious, but and sometimes they try to terrify them, to make them give them anxiety that they stopped. But the Dutch debunkers they have tried to shut me down for years, and they don't like what I do. It's coming too close by the truth. I have lots of evidence that that's what's going on around me, that it is real. Lots of witnesses. Also Nancy Talbott, she is from the scientific research worldwide. She make the reports. She was witness with me that a crop circle was forming by my house. We will see it both, and also another time we will see another circle that was forming in the grass by a dark spiral. And that's very difficult for some scientists when you think very logic, then and you like to have control, then it can be a threat for you when you think on larger realities. And I have learned that I must not will that I understand it with my mind, but only feel it. And I have learned that feeling, when you feel something, that is the true. The intuition, the sources talk with us through this intuition. And I will learn that people, I try only to help people and to open the eyes from people and to learn them that life has a reason, and that they must be thankful for the born right that they get, and that every life from every animal and every human being is very important, that nobody is more than other people, that we have all the same rights and we are all together go to the same light. You cannot go in another way. You must also go first through the darkness on earth to experience lots of things here, and then you can go to the life forever, to the infinity, to the light. But it is very sad that lots of mediums, not only I but also other light workers, they make a caricature from them. The skeptics try to debunk them, but my meaning is everything that you give intention will grow bigger. Because my feeling is, don't give debunkers or skeptics too much intention. But that is what they want. And when we give the debunkers, when we call names from them, or when we call websites, or when we call debunkers, then lots of people going to the websites and read and get this absolutely pessimistic gray energy, and we make them famous, and that's not what we must do. We must bring the message from positivity and from light. And I respect every meaning, also from skeptics, also from debunkers, but there is something very pessimistic and arrogant when somebody say there is nothing, and you cannot know that for sure, that there is nothing, I think then. And when you watch to everything in nature, to your body, every organ that's so perfect create, and also the animals with the protection collars that they get not catched too quick by other animals, and every flower, the smell from flowers, your eyes, that they can see things, that they can translate it in your brain. When people have an IQ above the 20 a little bit, then you must realize that there is a big creative consciousness above everything. And big scientists, real scientists, they know that there is some big consciousness above us. Also, some big Nobel Prize winners, they talk serious about this sort of things and about the idea life after the death. And these guys, I like them. I think that they are serious people to talk with them. But people, they yelling and they spit on my jacket, I will not talk with them. They are not important. They must learn to love themselves and to love other people, and don't be afraid. When people get anxiety, they starting to be ordinary and aggressive, and they will fight. But it is anxiety, and lots of debunkers have anxiety to lose control. Dus I think that it is the best to don't pay too much attention to them, and do what we must do, and that is teach people. And people, they will grow. People, they will listen. To talk to them. But sometimes, I'm also tired of it. That some people say lies about me. Sometimes terrible lies. The media say,
Robert, for you to be trying to teach something that's loving when a guy's got a gun drawn, aimed at your face. And trying to haul you off to jail. It's very difficult in such situations to...
Absolutely, it's traumatic in some way, yes. It's...
to be yourself.
Isn't there a faction?
In psychology, when somebody is obsessed with control, like the Illuminati, the people in control, what you fear is what you want. And so at their deepest level, I think that the need that they have is to let go of control and to feel their oneness with the all. I really think that if you can I think that, Robert, you speak so eloquently. I know that if people will look you in the eye and talk to you, you can reach them, because you're...
Isn't there a faction? I mean, we have a lot of people from around the world that fly into the UK, and they fly into these areas where there are crop circles. So what if the Brits are too stupid to see this wonderful phenomenon in their own backyard? And I'm sure there are a lot of people in England that recognize the phenomenon. And what was that
Yeah.
one man that did the research? He was British. Yeah, there's British researchers that have been following the
Oh,
crop
I'm
circle
not
phenomenon
saying
since the
all
beginning.
Brits. I'm saying the guy
But,
in the street.
Right. So well, I don't worry about the guy in the street. The guy in the
They
street
voted for Trump.
voted for Trump. What are you gonna do with that? No, I worry. I meet the people that are awake, and then we wake up other people. It's like lighting a candle, and these people are standing next to each other. They can light the candles, and then they go out and they get to a point where they're just glowing, literally, and people are going, what are you doing? What's your magic trick? Because look at you, you're calm, centered, cool, collected, enlightened, empowered. You definitely have something that I want. What? And they start inquiring what's going on. Well, they're opened up their chakras and they're spiritually aware and conscious.
Charisma's catchy.
And charisma, they're charismatic on, some level that they're, people are noticing it. So I would just encourage you, like you're doing, Robert, is just to walk away from those who are, they're not, those with the eyes to see will see, those with the ears to hear will hear.
I think they can be used to make the world more attentive to your message. And if you hold them, like Martin King did, of course, look where he ended up. But if you hold them with some kind of love and sympathy, there is a chance that you can reach them, I think.
Right.
Yes, of course.
Go to
I'm
the psychic level.
yes, I'm agree with it, of course. And I will also stay to do this, to help people, and I will never give up. I will do this to my last day. I'm sure about it. I do that.
Oh, like Martin Luther King did, do you?
Yes, absolutely. I have also something, when somebody will come to me with a gun and will shoot me and I will die, then I think, no, it's okay. I have done it good. I've tried to help people, and I like then more to get the death penalty than that I stop self. When you see how thankful people are, what they get from above, and people with some gifts, they are very thankful for it. And sometimes I think maybe I go to the States or some other place. The Netherlands, I like the Netherlands. I'm born here, and I have lots of sweet followers here. I give seminars, I give healing evenings and in halls and reading evenings, but also lots of seminars. And there is some group of people. They believe me. That's well a couple of thousand people, but it's
Wonderful.
yes, but the million public have got through the media false information that I be a liar and that I'm use special effects and that sort of things. But when people know me personally, they know that it's real. I cannot make happening that a crop circle is created by lights when Nancy see it, when witnesses see it. Now there are so many witnesses around me. They have see it, and also when I give readings, I get information also over the future. First, the skeptics will say he took his information from internet. His information is so accurate, it's not possible that he gets a psychic. But I get also messages from the future.
Wait a sec. Wait, you're leaving out the important part there. Remember when they accused you of the internet?
Yeah, I know.
You
Yeah.
have a computer, right?
That's the most funny part of it. I was living by my parents and I was not having a computer. And that was the most funny part of it. My parents know that. You can call my parents and they know I was not having a computer. And
I'm in your room, and I know you didn't have a computer.
Nancy is also a witness. I was not having a computer, and there was excuse me that I was you took my information from the internet. But I was also found in that program. I was having a TV program in the Netherlands to try to open the eyes from lots of people. And in one reading, I was found a man that was 40 years missing. I was found him back. I was get information, exactly information where he was. that he was still living. It was a daughter. She was, try to find her father for years, and I was get a message.
Where was he, Robert? Tell where he was and what
He
you saw.
was, yes, I was. She was not sure if he was still living, and she was now. He was 40 missing, and she was trying to find him back. And she read to the program, write to the program. Can Robert maybe do something? Dus I was only know that I must go to a woman to give a reading. I was not give information before, and when I was sitting there, I was get a message, the name from her father. And I was then she was say, yes, he is missing. And then I was get the messages. Sorry, my English is not so good. Then I was get the message that he was in Paris, that he was still living, that he was having an antique shop, and that he is living by a canal, and that he is living, and that he is healthy, and that she will find him back in 6 weeks. She was for years doing research to try to find him, and she was never ever found him. And then she was go to an institute that can international do the research and go with the information that I was give to them, and then they was found him back. They was do a very deep research, and he was in Paris, and he was having an antique shop. You can find it back on YouTube. You can see that.
Wow.
And yes, she was found her father back, and he was still living, and it was in the 6 weeks. The program was not. It was before the program was going on air, and dus they have monted everything on each other. They was edited by each other. It was wonderful cases, very strong cases also, and they have filming that she was visit her father, and she after 40 years her father. Yeah,
Oh my
then I get also goosebumps and tears, and then I'm so happy, so thankful that I have this gift. And I think all the pain and suffering that I was as a child, and also in the psychiatric institute as child, that was a big offer. But then I like it that I can help people with the gifts. Then it's a blessing. But sometimes it's it's a pain. Sometimes it's difficult, but it's.
Robert, do the dead? Oh, we have 5 minutes to break, but this is something that's fascinating. I've always been fascinated by it. The dead have appeared to be, and sometimes they have messages for me to deliver to other people. Do the dead just come to you, or do you have to seek them out? What happens?
Depends on the circumstance. Sometimes they just appear. Sometimes they will appear if a client has come to him for a reading and they're asking about their deceased relative. So it depends on the circumstance, doesn't it, Robert?
Yes, exactly. Not in all the readings I get dead relatives, but when it is the higher source decides that it is good, then they come. I don't sucked the spirit to me. Only when the light found it good that person gets an hello call from the deceased person, then it will happening, and that's also a good way to do that. But it's not that I try to let it happening. I wait if it is possible, and when it is possible, they come. And sometimes, with very strong details that what was going in the casket, where the clothes are going to, what was the last words, what the client was dreaming last night, and that sort of things. Very proofful that only know what only the client knows self, and that's most of the time the best proof. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I had earlier this year, beginning of the year, I had David Bowie and Prince come to me, and they come and they put a song in my head, and then I wake up and I'm singing this song, and I go, honey, whose song is that? And then we'll do like a session and invite them to speak through me without taking over, and then usually, have some kind of message.
Yeah.
What we got from that is that when a lot of them are confused when they're out of the body, and they go to people who can see them, and they can see, they can see that I can see them. And they usually come in the dream state.
I understand.
But I
Yes,
think there's
yes.
a need. There's a need to help the dead because they are often confused. They have strong emotions. They're trying to integrate what's going on.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Yes, that's yeah, you feel that so very good. Yes, that's the whole. There are some, also lots of dead people. They have sometimes really problems. Sometimes also problems to understand that they are dead, that they have no body more. Yeah, that it's a very. It's sometimes psychologic, a big problem when they are in the lower astral,
Right.
worlds. Yeah.
Have you helped them go over from the lower planes to higher planes
Yes.
to where they're supposed to go?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. That's what they need. Some people was going dead so quickly in accident, or they were shooting in the head so quickly that they don't know that they are dead, that they think that it was almost a dream. And yeah, that's sometimes very, very sad then. And but when they get the wake-up call and can come to the light and see other family members, they're waiting of them, and then it's a big party for them. But some of them, they stay in buildings, or they stay on the place where they was dying, and people call it then spooks. But yes, they stay sometimes on places. Some spirits stay for years on some place. They will not grow. They will not go back in the conception, or they will not go to the light. And yeah, they stay sometimes in buildings, sometimes 100 year. It's also in England, a lots of places you have that there. You have the atmosphere. The etheric atmosphere is very thin there, and you have lots of spirits there, but also in other places. Yes.
Interesting. We're coming up on our first break. What would you like to cover in the second hour? Break's about 5 minutes. Nancy, what do you think we should cover?
Figure out something.
If I know something where we can talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying that we could talk, you and I together, and break. We can figure out what. Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay.
We'll be back in 5.
Well, we're coming up on break. You're listening to The Sacred Matrix on Revolution Radio, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes. Aloha and welcome back to The Sacred Matrix on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. And I'm your host, Janet Carroll Lesson, with my co-host, Dr. Sasha Lesson. And before we get back to our guests, I'd like to remind everybody to please go over to that donation button on freedomslips.com and make a donation. $1, $5, $15, $20, whatever you can donate is greatly appreciated. And Ahmad, Thomas, I saw some kind of announcement earlier.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a special?
Hawk's now got a website, which is www.freedomslips.com/gotwood, and he's selling wood products. And if they put the lessons in there, when they buy something, you'll get 15% of the intake. I encourage people to go check it out.
Oh, wow.
All kinds of really nice stuff. So
it's freedomslips.com/gotwood.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll have to check it out. Sounds fascinating. Alrighty. So our guests are Nancy Talbott and Robbert van Den Broeck. Sasha, what would you like to say?
Oh, just during the break, I was getting this image that Robbert was talking about, how when he was having his image on television broadcast into people's houses, it was like he was, his consciousness could then enter into that. When I got into those places, and I realized this radio is doing the same thing. And I just Revolution Radio, you're just really getting a chance to hear amazing information that can open up your hearts. And Nancy there's a scientific backing for it, and the message is there for Robbert. So just listen to them.
I thought maybe we would talk just briefly about, I said in the beginning that, in my opinion, my growing opinion, that the crop circles are just one part of, this multifaceted, big unknown thing that we call by different names. And one of the reasons that I've come to think that is something that I think most people call remote viewing. And it's something Robbert does all the time. And I have two particular examples in which he can tell you about them. When he doesn't travel, he's only been out of Holland, I think 1 or 2 times, just across the border into Belgium for lectures. He does not travel. He wants to be in his own bed at night. And he's never been to the States, and I don't think he even knows where the different states are. Be that as it may, one day in 2011, a reporter called me from Virginia, where I've never spoken to Robbert, I don't think, about Virginia before. And the guy had a picture of a crop circle and wanted to give it the information to me and see if I could get it sampled. And it just happened that Robbert and I are on Skype often at night, and I guess I must have sent him a photo of the one photo that the reporter had sent me. Or maybe I sent it on email, I don't remember. But the next thing I know, Robbert is either Skyped me back or he emailed me back with, "Watch out, that one is man-made." Now, do you remember the details, Robbert, of that? The boy?
Yes, it was. Thank you for your introduction. Yeah, that was very interesting. I was get immediately and instantly knowing when Nancy was talking about the circle that it was man-made, and I was see very strong boy with hair, a little bit dark blonde hair, to in his neck, and I was see
ponytail on the back of his neck.
Yes, exactly. And I was get very strong the name Mike. Mike was coming very strong in my head, and I was get knowing immediately. I was get very strong in my head that he was a paper boy. That he was bring the newspapers, and I was see him on a bike, and that he was bring the newspapers, and I was knowing, that he was do that. It was so strong, I was know it, and when the whole world was say to me on that moment, when you imagine that the whole world was saying to me, no, that's not true, I'm sure that I was stay by my meaning and was say, yes, it's true. It's so strange when you know something. When you feel something, then you stay by it. Then you know it. It was so strong, instantly knowing that he was do that. And I was described this to Nancy. And what was you doing, Nancy, then?
Well, after he told me, I made very careful notes of everything he said, and he left out one detail. He told me about the baseball hat that this kid always wore also. And I then called the reporter, because the reporter didn't know from nothing. But I called him. Turned out it was a very small town, and the reporter really pretty much did know most everybody in the town. And so what I said to him was, by any chance, in your town, is there a young, dark, sort of blondie brown-haired boy who wears it in a ponytail, who rides a bike and delivers your newspapers, whose name is Mike? And he says, how in the world did you know that? And I said, well, it's too long to tell you here. And he says to me, well, yes, the paper boy, you're describing my paper boy. This is the kid. And he gave me, yes about every single thing that I said. And so then about Robbert, and that, he was my friend in Holland who was a medium, and that he had told me all of this. And so the reporter then was kind of incensed. He felt that he had been misused, and he was going to go and be angry with his kid. And I said, no, 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 don't do that. It was in the middle of summer, and there was a July 4th celebration coming up that the whole town went. I said, wait until the party, and then just pull him aside gently. Don't be ugly about it. Be gentle, and just ask him if he made it, because you have information that he did. And so he did this. He pulled the boy aside, and the kid was so startled, he then demonstrated for the reporter exactly how he'd done it. Now, how does Robbert,
Wow.
3,000 miles away, who doesn't even know where Virginia is, how does he see this? I don't know, but that's the sort of thing that happens all the time. And you begin to understand that if Robbert says it is so, the chances are like 99.99 something or other that in fact they're so. Another example much more recently occurred where people still debate this, and it just makes me crazy. But this is in California, and we're talking now, what was this? It was 2013, Robbert, in California. And by this time, we're on Skype a lot at night. And a reporter called me from California because a crop circle had been reported out there. He had a photo. He wanted me to take a look at the photo and tell him whether it was real or not. And I explained to him that you can't tell by looking at a photo whether a crop formation is real or not, unless you're Robbert. But if you're one of us, you can't. You got to do the testing and all. And I tried to explain the science and what was needed. Well, he didn't care. He wasn't interested in that. He wanted immediately an answer. And I said, well, I was real sorry, but without the testing, I couldn't tell him. So he hung up, but he'd sent me the photo. And I sent it to Robbert, and bingo, right away, the same switch goes on, I guess, in his head. And he then described in detail, not just about the circle, but there was somebody watching it. And that somebody came from a particular company, and that was some distance away. So Robbert told what he saw, because he had it all nailed right.
Yes, I was see. I was see. That was the formation that you was show me. That was the commercial thing. I think so. Eh?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Exactly. Yes, that nobody was know that it was a commercial. It was look like very spacey. It was a very interesting image that they was make in the field, and many people was thinking that it was absolutely real. Also, the media was getting attention for it, and lots of people. But I was see very.
Robbert is telling me everything he's telling me before it hit the news. Before it was in the newspaper, Robbert.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I guess when you say things that ordinary people, unless we're Robbert, aren't going to be able to do that. I'm just wondering, Robbert, can you teach people to remote view? Is there ways that they can learn that?
Why don't you let him tell you this story first, and then get on to that?
Okay. Yeah, that's very.
Finish the story. Yeah.
It's very interesting, this story, but I was see I remember me a man with a cap and with a beard or something, but I was also get names. I don't remember me exactly the names. Nancy remember, I think so but I was get names from persons, and later we was discovered that it was exactly right. And I was also get the name from the company that was having something to do with this. And
driver, you saw the tractor driver first.
Yes, I was see the tractor driver, and I was see.
What was he doing?
Yeah, he was witness something. He was see that somebody was standing in his field, was making something there, and I was knowing that he was witness the maker. I was see the tractor, I was see the color of the tractor, and I was see that the farmer was see that somebody was make a crop circle in his field. And later we was discover, as when I remember me it good, that the farmer was say exactly that he was see that somebody was make a crop circle in his field. And it was later, it was coming out, he was hearing that a farmer was witness. But what I was see in the vision, yeah, that was exactly right. That was very interesting.
Absolutely. That it turned out that the two of the British hoaxers that are well known were to the two names Robert got, and they were in fact two of the people busy making the thing. But what I was fascinated with was there was a Mexican guy on a tractor in the field across the road from where the crop circle was being made in daytime by a group of people, and it took quite a while. And so there were many people who saw, but this tractor driver in particular, he was hired by the farmer from a company that lived some 30 miles away, I think it was. And his job was to do whatever it was that he was doing in that field that happened to be across the street from where the British guys were making the crop circle. And he worked for a company called Grissetti's Custom Land Work. Robert gave me, typed for me those exact words. The only difference was he did not put in the apostrophe for Grissetti's. He spelled it without the apostrophe. Now, Robert does not write in English. Back then, he didn't write in English at all. And yet he wrote for me that phrase because he got it in his head. Turns out that the guy on the tractor works for Grissetti's Custom Land Work Company. They are located, 20, 30 miles due south of where this crop circle was being made. And it was this Mexican guy who had been there for a couple of days watching them make it. And Robert got all these details about him, as well as many of the people who were actually involved with the making of the circle, their names, and this bushy bearded guy and his dark glasses and the clothes that they were wearing. All of this, again, without Robert actually having a clue as to where California is. I'm not sure he knows where it is now. But it doesn't it doesn't matter. That report and all of these are on Robert's page, on the BLT website, on the Den Broeck case page. And each report has a photograph next to the details of what happened in every single instant. That one it's in December 2013, and it's entitled Dutch Medium Sees Details of Man-Made California Crop Circle. But each story is different about something different.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
They all show these weird abilities. Should we talk about the white powder?
Yeah, that's okay for me.
Yes.
Yes.
Because that is how I met Robert in the first place.
Oh.
I would never have become as enlightened as I have if it hadn't been for the white powder. Because back in 97, I think we're talking now, I had heard about Robert from one of our field workers in the Netherlands, because by then he had, at the age of 15, he first started seeing crop circles form. So I was hearing about it from the fields, but I didn't pay a lot of attention. I didn't know Robert then, and some of what I was being told sounded very romantic, and I was busy with other things. But then I got a call from the field worker again saying that the same boy, it was Robert, had a big light ball come to his house. His parents' home is in a small development way in the south where it's all farmlands, and the back of the house backs right up to farm fields. And one night, this huge ball of light had come and scared the kids, and they'd gone running downstairs to get the parents. And when they came back up, the ball of light was gone, but there were burn marks on the eaves overhanging the balcony. There's a little balcony off Robert's bedroom.
Yes.
There were burn marks on the outside of the door, and there was a pile of this white powder sitting in the middle of the balcony floor, right, Robert?
Yes, exactly. It was exactly happening. Yes, it was very impressing. I remember me that I was walking with the other children in my sleep room, and there was a big light over the balcony, and in 1 second it was go away. It was look like a television that you was yeah, press out. It was
And it just was
going.
poof.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and then the white powder.
And then there was the powder.
Yes, and that was very strange. It was look like almost, yeah, a snowball that was hit the ground, but it was not snow, and it was not snowing on that moment. But the white powder was on the ground, and yeah, then I was meet Nancy for the first time, and before.
Father was not very fond of these things. He didn't
No.
like all this stuff, and he wanted to find out what that white stuff was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So they contacted the field worker, and the field worker got in touch with me. And the point is that our scientists then were able to analyze that white powder. And
What was it?
Yeah, what was it? Yeah.
in
She's getting there. Go ahead.
That was the first instance of it, and we did what's called infrared FTIR. Oh Jesus, infrared. It's an infrared analysis that we did, and it turned out that it was a magnesium carbonate. Now, if it had been magnesium oxide, you might make the argument that this bright ball of light had been a flare, because magnesium flares carry magnesium and it burns, and it's magnesium oxide in that case. And of course, it would leave magnesium oxide behind. But this was magnesium carbonate, which does not burn. And at that time, we didn't know how pure it was. We did a couple of tests. We could identify it. We could not explain it. There was no explanation whatsoever as to how it could be there. None of us, the scientists who work with us, had ever seen this thing before, this sort of a situation. So we had nothing to compare it to. But then, as I got to know, I went to Amsterdam, and that's how I met Robbert. I was doing a lecture tour the next year, and Robbert and his parents came to Amsterdam to the lecture there to thank me, and I met them. And Robert's parents asked if I would come and stay for a couple of nights, because I didn't have another gig I was going to be in Belgium a couple of nights later. And very peculiarly for me, because I don't normally do this, I agreed. And the very first night in his house, the off the wall, in your face craziness started. And I started to realize that whatever this was, it was not a joke. There was something very powerful going on. But this white powder thing then led to later, each year I started coming to stay with Robbert and with the family. And in 2007, there were multiple incidents of the same white powder appearing in crop circles. And one of them involves something that Robbert can tell you more about than I can. In one of these instances, he and his mom and Ellen, the friend, were at the field because Robbert kept feeling that more was going to happen in this field. There were lots of crop circles that year. And this is the red ball of light thing, Robbert, where happened. Yes. Tell that, will you?
Yes, I remember this. It was very interesting. I was go with my mother and with a girlfriend from her, and we was go to a field where a couple of crop circles was appearing. And I was there, and my intuition was saying I must walking straight a little bit further in the field. And I was listening to my feeling, to my intuition, and I was walking further in the field. And then from one of the other section, a red light was coming. It was flying over me. And on that moment, I remember me not exactly what was happening. My mother was see the red light above me and was see that I was disappear on that moment. And also Ellen, the girlfriend from my mother, was also see it. So it was very... Yes. I was...
Robbert was gone.
I was going, yes. There was not see me more. And I remember me that I was feel a shock, and I was standing on a totally other direction from the field, on a total other place in the fields, and that was so, yeah, so impressing also for me, but also for my mother, and also for my mother and for Ellen. On that moment, I was walking back, and I was see also when we was walking back that there was a little crop circle on that place where I was standing, and that was so, yeah, shocked. They was see that I was transported to another place in the field, and on that
That
place
red,
was a little
red
circle.
circle was, what was in the
Yes,
middle of it? You remember?
and in the middle was white powder again. This the white powder was there. This it was so.
Wow.
Yeah, that was very interesting. Yeah, very interesting. Yes,
He
yeah,
was literally moved 30, 40 meters from one spot to another instantaneously. His
yes,
mother and his sister and his friend and her friend could not see him. He disappeared. When he came to in this other place, he was kind of out of it. He didn't really know what the heck had happened. His mother ran to
exactly.
him, first, of course. And once they knew he was okay, they went back to the place where they'd seen the red light, and there was the new circle with the white powder in it. Now,
Yes, exactly.
one of the things
Robert,
about powder, when it's
wow.
pure, is that what that humans use it for is as a fire retardant. And that gets us to the really important story that I'm trying to get to, because this one happened inside Robert's house. And this is
Yeah.
2011, isn't it? In
Yes,
January
yes.
2010,
2010, I
reports
think
later.
so. Yes,
And
yes,
in this particular instance, the white powder, by now, we'd analyzed it many times with many different things. We did FTIR, we did MS, the mass spectroscopy, we did the X-ray diffraction work, we did everything. And we knew that it was now laboratory grade, 99.99% pure hydromagnesite or magnesium carbonate.
yes.
This is laboratory grade. You cannot go buy it. I can't go buy it. Robert can't go buy it if there was a lab nearby that even made it. So we're all wondering, what the heck is this stuff coming for? We don't know. Well, this case inside his house one morning, you want to tell it the whole thing, Robert? How about how Saskia got up and what happened?
Yes, it was very interesting. Yeah, it's a longer story. I think that I was given reading. I remember me that I was given reading to my mother, and that I was get a message that she, yeah, get some signal with butterflies, and it
Yeah.
was very, but it was before. Because they are two different stories. But maybe you can tell us, Nancy, that you remember exactly also the
Oh, all the
details from the report. I remember me also, but there are so many things happening that I remember me that, yeah, that
Your
my
sister
mother.
was the one, and on this particular night, Robert stays up all night. It's always been his habit since he was very young, and he goes to bed around 6 in the morning. So
Yes,
on this night, he had actually gone to bed a little bit earlier, and he had not been taking pictures. Lots of times when he's up all night alone, he feels to take pictures, or he'll feel something happening. But on this night, particularly, no. And he simply went up to bed a little bit earlier than normal. Around 6 or 6:30, his sister, his elder sister, whose name is Saskia, got up as she always does. And as she was going through the living room, she noticed this huge Indonesian moth. They're called an Atlas moth, and it's the biggest of the moth species. And what's most important is that they live only in Indonesia. Now we're talking January 11th in Holland. So we're talking really cold, lots of snow. These insects do not live there ever, and definitely not in the middle of winter. But here, lying directly in front of his deceased grandmother's photo on a table in the living room, is this huge Atlas moth, and it's covered with the white powder again. Next to it is a vase, a ceramic vase, with cloth flowers. Robert's mother always had these cloth flowers in the house. And when we look carefully, the edges of the cloth flowers are all burned and singed. And when we examined very carefully the flowers, we found, in fact, the white powder all over the flowers themselves. Furthermore, there were burn marks on the woodwork behind this table and where the flowers were. And literally, the paint had been burned and bubbled up and was all brown and swollen. And on the floor, underneath the burn marks, there was more of the white powder. It was really quite a scene. Nobody touched anything. Thank heavens they've learned when these events would occur, they would not touch anything and until we documented everything and samples were taken. But they did. They took lots of photos so we knew exactly what had happened, and then took some of the powder and again sent it here for analysis. And we did the FTIR work, and it was exactly the same material as it has been every other time. And the Dr. Eberl, the USGS geologist who did the XRD work for us, he told me we got a control. We bought a control from Alpha Azar, which is a company that produces this stuff. And we tested the control against the material with the X-ray diffraction work too. And in every case, it just keeps coming up. It's this 99.99% pure hydromagnesite. Well, this was, okay, very interesting. Robbert, there was a field worker helping Robbert at that time who wanted to come over and see this enormous moth. And he arrived the next evening. And as he drove up, the driveway is right in front of the house. Robbert had gone, you were standing in the doorway of your parents' home?
Yes, exactly.
And Roy's
I remember me and Roy was walking to his car.
Yeah.
And then I was see a flash of light by the window.
Coming at the car?
No, it was a flash of light. He was walking to his car to took something out his car, and I was standing in the opening from the door, and he was walking to the car. When he was walking to the car, I was see a flash of light by the window on the foresight from his car. And I will see a blue flash. I remember me, it was a blue flash. The same when you see weather lights. Very blue electric light.
And that was against the windshield.
And that was on the windshield. There was, when I was see that, I was say to Roy, I was see that, have you see that also? So I was expected he was see it also. He was not see it. He was busy with to took the thing out the car, I think so. Yes, but
his camera stuff.
Yes, but I was see very clearly the bluish flash. Dus I was thinking maybe there is a burn mark there. Dus we both was walking to the windshield, but there was not a burn mark. We were shining with a lamp on it, and there was a butterfly. And yeah, we was both flabbergasted. Really, it was not. It was not an. Yes, and it was a tropical butterfly.
It's another one that does not live in Holland. It's called a two-tailed jay, and it comes only from Indonesia.
Exactly, and it was so fresh. It was not dry. It was very fresh. Dus you will see that it was, almost of it was falling out the tree, and as if it was coming right out nature. Yeah, that is a real materialization. That was that's so beautiful that the other world can do that sometimes, give this sort of signals. And it's, that's very, very sweet. It's,
and you, in fact, had had a hope that maybe the other world would do this for Roy. You would wish that maybe they would do that, didn't you?
Yes.
Well, after the tail jay appeared, the next thing that happened was the next year, Indonesia has never had crop circles. But the very next year, there were the first 2 crop circles ever in Indonesia.
Yes. Yeah, very special. Yeah. And that was very
Wow.
special synchronicity. Yeah. Dus maybe I must emigrate to Indonesia. Maybe that they're more happy with crop circles than in the Netherlands here. Maybe, and they have beautiful butterflies. The other world don't need to materialize them, and they are there. It's beautiful. But yeah, this sort of experience will that makes people very strong believers in.
Do you think your grandmother might have been trying to communicate with you because the butterfly was by your grandmother's?
Yes, I'm absolutely sure that she was give a message through me on my mother on that moment that the butterfly was there. I'm sure. Yes.
Sasha,
She was
question.
very happy
Well,
with it.
Yeah, this is jumping back a little, but I found that it's usually extremely interesting when you have something like the time that you were in one place and then disappeared from the view of the people watching you and appeared in another place that was an in-between time. If you could remember or even imagine what if there was a different stretch of time in there, what transpired? What was in your consciousness? What did you learn? What did you pick up between the time you were transported and the time you were landed?
Yeah, in the field when the red light was there. You mean
Yeah.
that?
Yes.
Yeah.
You disappeared.
Exactly.
Do you remember anything? You said you didn't, but maybe you did.
It's very strange. It's for me almost a sort of black hole. It's very strange. I don't remember me exactly, but maybe when I go under hypnotic trance, when some hypnotic
Yes.
therapeuts of regression therapeutes bring me back, maybe I will remember me. In other dimensions, there's no time and space, dus maybe I have experienced something. But I don't remember that with my normal consciousness. But maybe my subconsciousness remember it well. That's possible. I don't know. I'm not sure about it.
I wouldn't be surprised if your dreams in the next few days reveal some information about that. I wouldn't be at all surprised.
That's maybe possible. When that's happening, I will let you know. That's it's possible
Thank
that
you.
you feel that maybe on this moment. I hope so. I'm really interested in it. I like to sleep. Nancy like also to sleep. We like both sleeping, you know. There's sometimes they say, some gurus say also, you know, the humans are most living when they sleep. They are most wake up when they sleep. And there is really some truth in it, I think so. Yes.
You know, there is one instance, Robert, where something happened very strange, and where you can remember some. You could tell him there is some details that you remember here, and this is when you appeared in Spain this year. If you tell them that whole story, because you do remember part of what happened when you kind of weren't there, why don't you tell that story?
That's very interesting. That was this year, last year, this 2016. I was missing a very strong, good friend of me. He is in Spain living now with his boyfriend in a house there. And I was visit them in a village nearby my village many times. I will go with my motorbike to them, and I like them very much both. And I was having a pussycat that I was like very strong. Her name is Elise, and I was getting very strong band. How you say that? Yes, with her. And then they was go to Spain. Dus I miss them terrible, and I cannot go with my motorbike to Spain. It's too far away from the Netherlands. But and then I was miss them very strong, and I would go to sleep, and they was there for maybe 3 months, and then I was dreaming that I would go with the train to them, and that I was traveling to them, that I will meet them. And then I was wake up and I was sad that it was a dream, that I was not meet them. So then I was standing up and come out my bed, and then I was walking, make my first step from my sleep room in my living room. And on that moment I was having the feeling that I was falling on the ground, that I was hit something and I was falling, and I was put my hands to prepare myself that I was falling on the ground, and I was feeling that I was hit the ground. And then the follow thing that I remember myself, and it is very strange, and I understand that some people will not understand it, but I swore on my life that I have really experienced it. I remember me that I was having the feeling that I was falling through the ceiling, on the ground. Yes.
Through the floor and then through the ceiling of their house, right?
Their house, and I was see the color of the stones from the floor, and it was a little bit brown color, I remember. And I was falling there, and I was standing and shaking a little bit, and I was see that Alan and Stan was watching me, and I was see that Stan took his photo camera, his mobile phone, I think, so, or photo camera, and he was took it and he was make a picture, and I was like, whoa, I was thinking, oh my goodness, it's real. I'm really here. And I was see Alan also that he was watching, and I was see that Stan was try to making a picture. And I remember me something that I was say that I love them, or that's something like that. And then the next thing that I was remember myself was that I get some sort of shock, and then I was wake up on the ground in my living room. I was lay down on the ground, and I was thinking, I was very. Then I was get a little bit anxiety. And the next thing that I was thinking was, oh, maybe I've done sleepwalking, or maybe I've got a stroke. That's also possible. Something going wrong in my mind, in my brain. I was getting maybe an hallucination, or I was trying to find a logic explanation. And then I was see a WhatsApp message from Stan after a couple of minutes when this was happening. I have experienced something very strange with Alan. I will see you in my living room here in Spain, and I have tried to make a picture from you, and you are on the picture. And it was on that moment, I was, then I know that strange things are happening through me, through my mediumship, but this was so, it was so beautiful. Yeah, and then I was see the picture, and that's very strange when you see yourself in that position with your eyes closed, standing there. Yeah, that's almost as if you in
their hallway, where you
Yes.
had never seen it before. I made Stan and Alan take pictures of the same place where Robbert had been in regular light, so I could show everybody. And when you look at the pictures in the report of that place where he was standing, you can see he was absolutely standing on their tile floor right outside their living room.
Yes.
And the two of them watching him and talking. And in the report, they also is a video with English subtitles where they tell what it was like to see Robbert standing right there in front of them.
Wow.
Yes. It was very interesting, and lots of clients when I was helping them, or also people that I was never ever meeting. They say also that they see me sometimes, but I don't remember me that most all the time. It's more my higher self that appear to them as a sort of trust person, that they know that they got help. But I have a sort of biolocation consciousness, I think so. But I take it very serious now.
I take it very seriously too. I've had a number of other cases. One of my main teachers, Stanislav Grof,
Yeah.
felt he was going to the television set of his brother's place in Prague. That was when JK and the communists were, keeping everybody a prisoner in Czechoslovakia.
Mhm.
He described the room and everything like that, and so forth. Then when he gets in touch with the brother, it's exactly confirmed. And so I've heard this happen so many times. It's
Mhm.
like when you materialize elsewhere, you're bilocated, and that's. I guess I come back to my question: is there
Yes.
ways of training yourself to do it more? Training yourself to do it more, and training other people to have that
Yes,
kind
of
of.
course.
Why,
Yes, I like.
why would you train yourself? Why would you not? To me, that would be the sort of thing you would allow the light to use you for if it wanted. Why would you train yourself?
Is that a question for me or for?
Or for the
Oh
doctor?
no, it's for Robert. It's for Robert. It's like
No,
the
my
reason
question
is to
was
is
to
to
you.
is to is
I'm wondering
transcend your materialistic 3D existence, to transcend the lock into the matrix. It seems to be the purpose.
Yeah. I understand.
Oh,
Yes.
well, he does that all the time anyhow. So, you're saying that this would be so he could teach other people how to do this.
Yeah.
To
Yes, yeah.
meditation.
I think that everybody can learn to listen better to the intuition. I'm sure that I like to learn a lot of people that they can learn to be more telepathic. Everybody knows the phenomenal when you go when you pick up your telephone and you will call somebody and you dial a number and you wait and you hearing zzz, zzz, that he is going over. Then sometimes by the second time you feel the person will not pick up the phone. You get some low, empty, depressed feeling. And many times that is true. And many times people think that no, I will, maybe he's well at home. But the first thing most all the time that's coming up in your mind is most all the time the true. When you cleaning your house and somebody is popped in your mind, a friend or an aunt, or then and then the telephone is going and you pick up the telephone. Many times that person is then on the telephone. That's a regular telepathic phenomenon that many people knows. But that's more the acceptable telepathy that everybody knows between the so-called living persons. But they are also telepathic contacts with the normal ordinary people, between the living human and somebody that is passed over, is diseased. And that I will learn people also to communicate with spirits. It's also possible when you walk in your house and in 1 second your grandmother popped up in your mind and you think, whoa, I must think on her. And then it's good possible that she is around you. She cannot call you on the telephone, she has not a body, but she is also thinking on you. She is actual on that moment, her energy is around you. And then it's possible to stay still and listen. What is the first thing that's coming up in your mind? What is the thing, what is she willing to tell you? What is she willing to let you know? And then it's possible to learn to communicate also with spirits, or with guides, of nature spirits, of angels. And the most important is, of course, God is the light from true and honest feelings. But it is the biolocation thing. I don't know of. I think that that it is possible for many people, but it has something to do with grow processes that you must acceptate that you been then on many places, and not everybody can handle that. Some people, it's too much for some people, or it's too heavy for some people, and then it's better that they don't get not this experience. It's not for everybody. The best thing to do. Some people must have very strong their own reality and their own comfort zone, and after that it's easier for them to have this biolocation consciousness. But some people are biolocation and they never ever know it from themselves, I believe also. Yeah.
Before we run out of time, we're down to the last 5 minutes or so. I wanted to cover, you have these pictures on your website, bltresearch.com/Robbert, ROBBERT.php. And this is a regular camera. How are you getting these images? Are these extraterrestrial, interdimensional, ghosts?
Any camera that you hand him, any camera, it doesn't matter. Film or digital or video, it doesn't matter.
Wow.
Exactly.
So tell us what happens. How does this work, Robbert?
Now, in 2004, I was discover the first picture with with a creature on it. I was in the living room. I was lived by my parents on that moment, and I was feel that somebody was around me, and I was hearing a sort of high flute noises, you know, some zzz, like or there was a bird flying around me, and I was get the feeling I must make a picture. And I was having a green chair in the house, and I was see with my naked eyes a sort of misty clouds in it, and then it was disappear. On that moment, I took my camera and I was having a feeling I must make pictures. Before this time, I was having many times also orbs or spirals on the pictures, but I was know instantly that something special was happening. And then I was making pictures from the green chair, and then I was watching back, and then I was see the same misty cloud, and then I was see that the misty cloud was get more form and more form and more form, and then there was really a creature in the green chair with black eye, with a sort of red eyes and a sort of light brown skin, white skin, very strange. And on that moment I feel myself so happy when I feel that's not only the crop circles, but that now also I can be a bridge for other creatures on the picture, that I can make something visible from the other dimensions that's coming on the picture. And after that, my dead uncle was coming on the picture, my dad's grandmother was coming on the picture, and then more and more people was here. Clients was asking, Robbert, can you make a picture? Can you try it? And then I was do it, and also that relatives from them was appearing on the picture, and then journalist was coming from the newspaper, and he was skeptical. He was saying, can you make a picture with my camera? I was do it. There was also creatures and dead relatives coming on the camera. And then, the television was coming, a television canal in the Netherlands, famous television canal, and with a professional photo, how you call that? Photojournalist. And he was trying to prove that it was fake. Dus he was coming with his camera, and there was brought 2 television cameras to film me on the foreside, on the lens, and on the backside, that I cannot hold something for the lens or do something with a computer. And then I was, of course, they think very practical, and I understand that, you know, and then I was making pictures, and it was happening. Aliens was appear on the picture, and that was for him so flabbergasted that he was very sportive. He was saying, for me now it's real. I have seen it with my naked eyes, and it's real. And later I be tested by Dr. Roll and Dan Drayson have made a very good documentary about.
Yes, good job.
Maybe Nancy can tell that better, but he was do that very good, very scientific, close in a very close box. That absolutely trickery is not possible.
There's a really good report on Robert's BLT page. He has his own website, you know, but on the BLT page is where all these reports are. And the one that's labeled 2010 to 2014, 4 Dutch and U.S. filmmakers document Robbert taking anomalous photos. And in that, you will see 2 different American, you know, video, well, they're filmmakers actually, and 2 Dutch, all using video cameras aimed at Robbert front and back, as Robbert then waits until he feels the energy present, aims his camera. They give him their own cameras usually, and he aims whatever camera they've given him toward what he feels, the energy. And the video cameras, of course, documenting everything continuously. And he goes click, 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 click. And then they scroll back, and the video cameras are watching over his shoulder as he scrolls back, and the LED screen goes boom. And there will be sometimes a creature. Sometimes there will be a deceased person. Neil Armstrong came.
Wow. Well, we are out of time. Fascinating.
Thank you so much,
for
both
joining
of you.
us, both of you. It was a wonderful
Thank
show.
you, thank you. You must say that
We'll
in
have you
stereo.
back again
That sounds good. Yes. Yes.
Okay, everybody, much love and blessings. And
Way inspiring. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome.